only going to be 10. So I'm like, oh, I got to get ready in like 5 seconds to prepare to meet all these people. And I'm really nervous, like in general, like right now, my heart is racing out of my chest. So
You're doing
I
awesome.
think it was interesting to meet all the people and realize that, we're all like normal. And also, I think one of the things going into it that was kind of putting me off about this was seeing other people's posts and seeing that like the way that the other people would write is not how I would write, or like seeing other people's point of views was not like the same as mine. And I think that going there and meeting all the people made me realize that it's okay to be myself and write in a different way that I would want to write, or show myself in a different way. And about like building your tribe, and that you're gonna meet people that relate to your perspective. So I think that was my biggest learning point, is just to be myself more.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this thing. I mean, like you get to be your own boss. You get to be the CEO of your own company. And there's like some kind of like set things as far as like how the business works, but as far as how you want to run it and the personality that you bring to it, you get to put your own spin on it. And the only way you're going to have success with it is if you do put your own personal spin on it and you don't try to be anyone else. That's the only way you're going to attract the people that you really love to work with. And that's what makes this thing not feel so much like a business. It almost feels like a community once you really just be yourself and you attract people that you work with, that when you are working with them, it just feels like you're working with friends. It's cool. That's awesome. Who wants to go next?
Am I unmuted? Can you guys hear me or
Yeah,
no?
go for it.
Okay. Because I'm on my phone. I've never done it from my phone before. So I'm going to go really short and sweet. I forget who exactly said it, but the quote, rejection is just redirection, really stuck out for me, because I know anytime I felt like I was rejected by, a customer or somebody that I had been talking to, or, something in my business wasn't going well, I had the kind of mentality where I just kind of stopped working and my mindset just would completely shift into like this super negative zone. And it really crushed me for a couple of years while I was doing this. And I think just in the last few months, I've kind of changed that mindset, and I've been using that mentality now, where just because someone rejects you doesn't mean that you have to take that to heart. You have to kind of just refocus, realize that if someone's not interested, that's just one more no, and you just got to go till you find those yeses and just stay on track. So short and sweet, but I love that quote, and I think that's really good, especially for new coaches.
I love that. I was just writing that down. One like quote is, everybody kind of shows up on the days they feel like it. The difference between a successful coach and the ones that struggle at times is successful coaches show up on the days they don't. The days they don't feel like it, because there are going to be days that you don't feel like it. But that's one of my takeaways was listening to not just like the top coaches. Like, I don't know if you guys got much out of, I'm sure you guys did, like Melanie Mitro's talk, like what she shared about her personal life, but also like listening to Brendan Burchard, and I think it was Mindy Wender. One thing I noticed about those guys was they struggle and have the self-critic, and they have the doubt that pops up just like anyone else. But they've like conditioned themselves and created tools that when that stuff does pop up and they do have the doubt and the bad days, they pull tools out of their tool belt that allow them to snap out of it and show up anyway. I thought that was pretty cool. I was surprised. I never knew that about Melanie, that she struggled with all that social anxiety and everything. That was pretty interesting. And the other thing that you said, Anne-Marie, was the no's. Another thing I noticed is, like, I think a lot of coaches think that no's are a bad thing. Like, I've found that no's end up being like the best thing you can do for your business, because I can't tell you how many no's have been people that come around and end up saying yes. And when you ask someone and they say no, it's really, now you've planted a seed, and they're going to watch you a lot closer. And they're going to now, because they're watching you closer, if you show up every day, eventually that, because you planted that seed, and when they're ready to make a decision, they're going to look to you as the person to go to. So those are always a good thing. it just makes them watch you closer. They might not like or comment on anything you post, but they're watching. All right, cool. Who wants to go next?
I'll go quick, Pat.
Awesome.
So this was my 6th summit, and for me, every single time, it's just meeting the people on our team. This was, I didn't go last year, so just meeting so many like new coaches, and then also just seeing coaches on our team from the past and experiencing with them their first summit and now their 3rd summit in, and seeing how much they've grown as a leader is so amazing. And the other thing that I really liked was Brendan Bouchard's. I liked his high performance testing. I can send it for you guys, but I really like how he kind of broke it down for us about like, what is your clarity? What is your energy, your productivity, your influence, your courage, and your necessity? And it's kind of a little test that he was able to give us, like how clear are you about your vision, that where you want to go with the business, like your energy, how excited are you about it? That really helped my coaches, his speech, and then, going over those things that when you do hear the no's and when you do hear the rejection, you have tools that will help you kind of overcome them. And I also loved, we did a lunch, or it's like a dinner lunch with a couple of coaches. And for me, I always love hearing why people do this, because it is always something different. Every single person on our team has a different why for why they're doing this. So just actually sitting next to like Marie, and she was telling her why, and how much it's changed her life just in the past 3 years, from really dialing in, becoming a better mom, like wanting to do this for her future, like her future and where she's going with it. The whys are always like the biggest thing for me, because everybody, just like who mentioned is it that everybody has to be different. Everybody's going to have a different why. Everybody does this for a different reason. And so hearing that one-on-one and with the other people just always gets me fired up again. That's it. Yeah.
It's funny. Like that was one of my like highlights of the trip, was that lunch too. We went around the table and shared our why. And I was thinking, like, on the plane ride home, because it was so moving, to like hear the struggles. Because not only did we share our why, we shared like our biggest challenges and struggles. So hearing those two things, and I was on the plane ride home, and I was like thinking to myself, man, like if I had gone around the table when I was in accounting and talked to the accountants about why they do this, what they do in accounting, like it just is not the same. It's just not the same. And I don't want to like hate on any of if there's any accountants on here, but yeah, it's totally different. Cool. All right. Who wants to go next? That was great, Annie.
I'll share if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool. So this is our 2nd summit. We went to Nashville last year, and that was my first kind of time seeing what this was. And I decided to go all in, and we got back from summit. I went Emerald in like 2 days. My first month in business, August, was like I had over 100 no's. I was just kind of hitting it hard. I was like totally dedicated to this, but then in September I got super sick and totally crushed everything. Like it just crushed my motivation. I couldn't work. I couldn't work out. I didn't feel like doing this business. I didn't feel like doing anything. So for months, man, it's just like self-loathing and negative and just terrible. So met Sagi in person Super Saturday in January. He kind of motivated me to start working out again. So I started doing that, even though it was really tough, but I got over it. And then going to Summit and seeing people on stage like Raina Odell, who's super sick and still crushing this, still a top 10 coach. That didn't stop her. And then seeing Jamie Fitzpatrick, who we know from our hometown, where we first met him over a year ago, was a 4-star diamond. And in just less than a year, he went 15-star, and he's a top 6 coach. So, we know his story. We know his struggle, where he came from. So, like, if they can do it, then I can do it too, no matter what.
Love it. Jamie, yeah, Jamie's the man. I didn't, again, like, you don't know the backstory on these super successful people. You just assume they've always been successful. Like Melanie Mitchell, like, oh, she's a robot. Like, Jamie Fitzpatrick, he's a robot. Like he's super, like then you hear their backstory. Jamie was depressed, overweight, like again, self-loathing, couldn't get himself out of bed. Melanie Mitro, like stuck in her dorm room having panic attacks. She couldn't even like get out of bed too. Like people deal with this stuff. Super successful people, you can't put them on pedestals. They've been there. They've just put the effort into getting themselves out of it by surrounding themselves with the right people and creating tools to bounce back. Look, I love seeing how emotional you guys are. Another Canadian power couple. It's cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. Did you want to share too, Melissa? No? Maybe later? Okay, cool. All right. Anyone else want to go?
I'll go.
Okay,
so just keep it short. Yeah, I had a couple different takeaways. One was this was just kind of like a common thread I heard among the coaches was that when they first started, they had no idea what they were doing. And and that was like very reassuring to hear. But that was something like everyone was saying. They were like, no, there's no experts in this business. It's just everyone, has had a different experience or they've been doing it for a little bit longer. Like that was it. And then listening to Amy talk in one of the workshops, she basically just said, that no one from her team is left and that she was just still here. And so that was just kind of goes to show like the only way you can fail is by quitting. And she's literally like, I'm the only coach here. So just kind of made me think like, if I just keep showing up, if I don't quit, like over time, not necessarily, no one's like better than you. Your coach, your upline isn't like better than you. They just have more experience. They put in more time. So like, I feel like that was a really big realization. And then also just like seeing the stage and like seeing everything for like what we do is like behind a computer and everything. So I thought it was very cool that like the company just like does all this recognition like that. And I think that just them talking about, where are you going to be a year from now? Like, and I remember sitting up in the nosebleeds and I'm like, I'm not fucking being here next year in the nosebleeds. Like I'm going to be on the floor. And so it was just kind of like seeing that, all right, where do I want to be 1 year from now? And then Haley Christian's like, do your actions match your mouth? So just like coming back from Summit and it's like, all right, I saw what it was. I saw where I want to be. So are you going to do this or are you going to be all talk? So yeah.
Boom. I love it. Every single coach you see on stage, when they started, they were a coach rank. Every single one of them. Didn't know what the heck they were doing. My first summit I went to, I still have the badge. I was an emerald. I still got it. I walk by it every day. I love that. All right. Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Awesome. Go for it.
All right. So I would say probably my biggest takeaway was just hearing more about why power. So the example that they gave while we were there is that there's these two metal beam, or there's a metal beam. Would you walk across it if it were on the floor for $20? And it's like, of course I would. What wouldn't I do for $20? And come to find out quite a lot of things. So then you take that metal beam, you put it up in the air 100 feet off the ground in between two 100-foot buildings. Would you walk across that for $20? And it's like, no, absolutely not. Right. But then like, if the other building were on fire with like babies and puppies and your mom on it, you would like, everybody would cross the beam, right? Doesn't matter what the risk is. All of a sudden you're willing to risk everything to do that. And for me, that's something that I was, really lacking in this business for a long time until my boss force transferred me to a job that I didn't believe in the mission of. All of a sudden it became clear that I was like really building a dream that I didn't even agree with. And so I started really buckling down and working hard in this business. But now that I've quit that job, I need a new why. Like I'm already out of that situation. That fire isn't there as much for me to push me across the beam in the sky. So really working with myself and with my coaches and trying to dig deep. It even was apparent when we did that high performance assessment. My lowest score aside from productivity, because that's like squirrel, but aside from that one was necessity. And that's really like how much urgency or how much why power you have, because willpower completely will not get you anywhere. Willpower comes and goes. And when we heard that coach say that she had lost 64 diamonds in her 10 years of being a coach, 64 diamond coaches had bailed out on her. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of that's a lot of fire. There has to be something really, really, really good on the other side of that building, on the other side of that metal beam for you to cross through that. So I just know that for myself, after listening to them, I have to really dig deep and base all my decision making on those 3 words, like what Marie was talking about, being a brave, kind leader. As long as every choice I'm making is based on those principles, I think I can't really go wrong. So that's it.
Awesome. Who was the coach you're talking about? Who was that coach that lost all those diamonds?
She was Lindsay Matway.
Oh, Lindsay Matway.
Ouch, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of coaches, if you ask them what their why is, they will say something really cool, but then they never think about it again until someone asks them again what their why is. So along with the power of why, or the why power, what you said, Carrie, not only does it have to be powerful, but it has to be something that you're constantly reminding yourself of. So writing it down and looking at it every day, or if you're visual, having that vision board. You got to constantly be refueling the tank by looking at that stuff. The other thing that helps is asking yourself, how would it feel to be in the exact same place you are today in 2 years from now? And asking yourself, is it worth to put in the work? How much regret would you have if you don't put any work in a year from now, you're at Summit and you're in the exact same position? That to me became just as powerful as far as why power than the actual place I wanted to go, was the regret of continuing to be in the same place summit after summit and not putting in the work consistently. Because those are your only 2 choices. Either put in the work or be in the same place a year from now. And that, to me, that second one was way scarier than showing up every day and putting in the work. Cool. All right. Who wants to go next?
Can I go?
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from a voice, so just to bear with me. So it's kind of a mixture of what everybody said. I went last year mostly for social. I was really excited just to be there. And then I got there and I learned a lot, and I came back and I had kind of, instead of an inspirational feeling, I had a feeling of inadequacy. So if you were at the summit and you're walking away and you're like, oh my gosh, this was amazing, and you're on a high but then dip down, I am the queen of driving the roller coaster, because I will be super high and super motivated, and then I'm I am the worst coach there ever is. So I went into this summit with a different mindset. I went to see everybody, which was really cool, but this year I decided not to miss a single seminar, not to miss a single workout. I was there just for a different reason. And I used to think coaching was kind of I said it was I'm a career coach, but I barely did it as a hobby. It was just fun because I love teaching. And then I had a crazy last year of teaching, which actually propelled me to move my entire life to another location in the world and start again. And I realized once I'd made the move that, I don't think I want to do teaching forever. I think I want to do something where I could live anywhere. And so when I went to the summit this year, I had a different mindset of what Carrie said, do my actions match my words? I always say oh, I'm in it to win it. But then I wasn't doing anything. And now since I've come home from summit, I feel I'm actually putting systems in place that I didn't have. And luckily, I've moved to Team Boom Central, and I have a lot of team boomers in town who, especially Danielle and Delaney, Nicoletta, Tara, Paula, and Pat. who work the business daily. And it's kind of like a daily reminder of like, show up, kind of what Carrie said again of like the building, I pay how much money a month to stay active as a coach, but am I making that back? Am I actually like building a dream, or am I just sticking around to say I'm doing it? So I think it was like a massive mindset shift. You can hear a lot of wonderful speakers, but then what do you do with it when you get back? So that's it.
Love it. That's the thing that's going to separate coaches, is like everyone's going to do the stuff when they're feeling it, like when they come off of a high of an event, but it's the ones that like make the routine out of it and show up when they don't want to do it. Those are the ones that end up having the long-term success. Cool. Love it. Team Boom Central. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go, Pat.
Awesome. Go for it.
All right, so this was my second summit, and last year in Nashville, I was just sort of taking it all in. It was very surreal, and just meeting everybody. This year, it was quite different. So I kind of felt a lot more comfortable around everybody, and if I had to say that there was one takeaway from this, well, two were actually really. One was that, and I've said this a number of times, and you've said this to me a number of times, is that we really already know everything we need to do. It's just continuing to do the same things every time. But the one new takeaway that I have was, I forget who said it, but it's,
is your beard growing while you're talking?
It might be. But don't be afraid to go for what you want. Instead of, we have a tendency to go for what we think we can get. So we can sit there and say like, well, by the end of the year, I want to be diamond or whatever, because I think that's possible. But that's not really what you want. You're just afraid to say what you want or what you'd like to happen. And that's one thing that I've noticed I've done, is I've set my goals too low because I don't want to fall short of making them.
Love that.
Nice, Joe.
That's funny. So as far as like goal setting, like this is what I think of goals. Like, I don't think goals are meant to be hit. I think goals are meant to stretch you. If you set a goal that you can achieve as the person you are right now, it's not a good goal. Like, you got to set goals that you got to grow into. And if you come up short, like that is, if you set a crazy goal that's going to push you to grow and you come up a little bit short, that's better than not doing anything, or better than setting some low goal that you end up hitting because you feel safe about it. Goals are not meant to be hit. They're meant to stretch you beyond what you think you can do right now. So I'm on board with you on that one, man. Anybody else want to share their top takeaway?
Yeah, the one thing I really paid attention to was from Brandon's talk about don't let your ambition be tied to your past, because, I mean, this is my third summit, and I think I've come a long way, seeing as how I actually did the classic this year. And I mean, I already had someone inbox me about wanting to sign up and stuff yesterday when I got home from the gym. So pretty excited about that. The consistency is starting to finally pay off.
Yeah. Very cool. Anything else you want to share from? It was your third, so this one was different than the last two, huh?
Yeah, first one, my coach got me into the size training with her, which was terrifying. And this is completely different level, doing the classic and stuff, to really kind of put it out there for people as far as how far you can take this and how it can help you like leave your comfort zone and stuff.
Love it. Cool. Comfort zone. That's not where it's going to happen. Life happens two or three steps outside of it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share?
I will.
Joanne, that'd be great.
Well, this was my second summit, and so kind of like Joe said, a lot of it was things that we've already heard before, but I think it really helps to just keep hearing them over and over again, the repetition, so it kind of sinks in. But I felt like I really connected with two coaches' stories in particular that at the Superdome. Shelly Heim, she's an older coach, and David Adkins, the trooper that spoke. There are things in my life that it just was such a connection for me. The loss of military friends, loss of relatives, marriage issues for a while, being overweight as a coach, and leaving my home and moving twice in a year, leaving my business that I had prior to Beachbody, and my age. I thought a lot the past couple years over those being a disadvantage for me as a coach. And listening to those two people, I think that it's those things that make me who I am. So when they were talking about use those things that happen in life as your strength, you come from that place and you can relate to people and things that they've been through. So just going forward, I'm just gonna, not let those things hold me back, but help me go forward with helping people. And it's, Beachbody that's helped me through those things in the past couple of years, and that I need to share that more, where I tend to hide that because I was thinking it's something wrong with me. And also another quote that I heard in one of the seminars was I think it was Miguel also, he said, let your belief be your armor. And so I just think going forward in the future, I'm gonna, think about what it's done for me personally, Beachbody, and use that more when I'm talking to people, where I tend to back away because I don't want to feel like I'm selling. But if you truly believe and you share that, then that should help more.
I love that. That was awesome. I think it's so easy to look at things we've been through in the past or things we've dealt with and look at it as our flaws. But it's really, those are the things that give us our power. They're the things that are our gift, because it gives us compassion when we see other people going through those things. It gives us empathy, which allows us to put ourselves in those people's shoes and relate to them. It's powerful. It's not a flaw at all. I love that. That was awesome, John. Anyone else want to go?
Yeah, Pat, Joanne reminded me of what David Atkins said. He said, God's gift to us is potential, and our gift back is what we do with it. So, let's use what God's given us, and if we're servants, that's what we do. We're here to help people.
That's why we all love you, Joe, because you got a servant heart and you wear it on your sleeve. The man. Servant heart. It's true. I think sometimes I say I'm old. Talking to some of the coaches we work with, some of you guys are rolling your eyes. I see George rolling his eyes. But I think as you get older, you realize that that life, there's a lot of times that you think that you kind of will focus on your own stuff. And you get to a point where you realize that life isn't about your stuff. Life's about others. Life's about connection. Life's about serving. That's where real, true, long-term happiness comes from. Not from your own stuff. It's from helping others and helping and worrying about their happiness. And that's what I've learned from you, Joe, as a servant heart. So cool. Who else wants to share? And my dad's right up there too. Talk about a servant heart. I mean, this guy, he's been like that forever. Hey, I remember being young, being like, hey, Dad, lace up, let's go play some basketball. It's he's busy with work. He's sure, he does that for Team Boom. We went around the circle and shared what we loved about Beachbody and what our why was. And he got emotional. I saw some tears in his eyes. He's got a servant heart. You know, he wears it on his sleeve, and you know, that's why we all love being around people like that. And it's cool to see like some of us like starting to grow into that too, and realize that.
All right, as long as you kicked me off, I guess I'll go real quick. I mean, there's just so many takeaways from going to Summit. It's just mind-boggling. But this is really a relationship a business. They call it network marketing, but I'd rather call it relationship marketing. Because when you go to these events, you really get to meet these people and talk to them and find out, you know, what's holding them back and try to help them out. And so, I mean, Summit is like, when they say Summit is like, is the most important event to get to, it's like, it's non-negotiable, really. I mean, it just totally refuels you in this business. And I don't care if you've got 2 coaches at this summit, if you've got none at the summit, there's always somebody there that you can help that's on your team. Because let's face it, this is a team. It's a team. This whole business is about team. I had some coaches, and I think I had one of my coaches. She got in one of the Ubers, and in the back of her mind, from some of the speakers and from me telling her, she said, I got to, you know, I have this fear, but I have to do it. I have to do it. And she forced herself to start talking to the Uber driver and got all the ladies' information. Now she wants her to, you know, follow up with her. She's interested in the coaching. And in the back of her mind, she had that fear that just to talk to somebody. So she got that out of her head. Just go for it, you know. I think real quick, some of the other things I heard that I thought were really important in this business. You really need to be a product of the product. If you're going to be in this business, you need to be using the products. And you don't have to use them all the time, but you should be drinking Shakeology. You should be using the products, and you should be be in a journey, at least. If you're not there, you should be, you know, on your way. I love the part about Darren Hardy when he talked about this business. You know, you're at this big party and everything's a lot of fun, but this is really a mundane business. I mean, most of the time you're on your computer talking to people is very boring work, but that's work. This is work, and that's what it is. I mean, that's what you're going to run into in this business. People think, you know, they get into it and they think it's going to be fun all the time, but it isn't. It's a business. You know, I think that was a curiosity. I thought that was great because I'm the worst at that. I like, you know, talk about old. I just like, hey, get in this business and let's get going here. You know, I don't want to. I'm a little bit too salesy. I just tell them like it is. But I thought what Chalene Johnson talked about, you know, make them curious. Don't say that you went to a convention about Beachbody. Don't tell them you're doing a Beachbody workout. You know, just lead it out there and then let them ask you. I don't know. Just talking to the coaches in person, getting to know everybody. I mean, it's you know, it's priceless, really, for the business. I could go on and on, but let somebody else go.
That's funny. I remember the first summit I went to was by myself, and I remember just feeling like the energy of all those kind of people in a room, and I remember thinking like, I'm gonna keep coming to these events forever. You know, whether or not I can bring other people with me, like I'm in Beachbody for life.
That's it. I heard there's coaches that maybe aren't building the business the way they'd like to be doing it, but they will never, ever quit as coaches. You know, They'll come back every year. Their businesses might not be doing the greatest, but they're going to plug back in and they're going to keep going and they're going to be back there the next year because they just love the team, you know? Yeah. So
if I hit like the mega lottery and won billions of dollars, I'd still show up to Summit and hang out with the team and be a part of this community.
I mean, how could I not want to hang out with Joe Policino a couple nights? I mean, come on.
You talking to me?
One day I will kick over my head, Pete. I promise. That's my goal. My goal is to be just like you.
He goes home and he stretches his hamstrings.
I can tell you're working out right now doing P90X, right? Getting ready.
I am.
Not
Love it. Cool.
I actually just got back about 3 hours ago.
One other thing is that I took away was you know, that 3 foot rule. You know, when people are around you, you have to be brave enough to open your mouth and talk to strangers, you know, and get used to that. And especially like when we get together, if you get into going to Super Saturday or you're at Summit, if you have a hard time talking to people on your team, you're never going to be able to talk to strangers. So, you know, when we meet each other, you got to talk. You got to open up, introduce yourself. You don't always wait for somebody to come to you, because you never know who you're going to meet on the street. Actually, I talked to somebody when we were walking back the first night. We both joked about jaywalking. I never met this guy before, and it turns out to be a great guy, Pat, and I just talked to him today. Talk about a servant, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Amazing. So you don't know who you're talking to. I mean, don't be afraid, you know.
Yeah.
There's always a way to bring Beachbody into the conversation. Like when we were leaving the hotel, the bellhop was bringing our bags to the car, and I said to him, you know, is everybody from Beachbody gone? Just to see, you know, get a response from him. He said, no, I think there's still a few more here. I said, yeah, a lot of us here. We had a great time. And I just said to him, you worked out. You look like you work out. He's like, no, man, I'm like 33. I stopped working out after college, and conversation rolled. I'm going to be talking to him in like 2 hours. So, I mean, it's easy to shift the conversation into business. So don't be afraid to talk. You know, get used to it. In the supermarket, you see somebody in the health food aisle, talk to them. You see people. I mean, it's easy. It's easy.
The more you do
over
it,
the fear over that. Go ahead, Pete.
No, I mean, like Joe. Yeah, the more you do it, the more confident you're going to get. The more you understand Shakeology, the more you understand the business, the more confident you're going to get talking about it. If you start doing this business after you think if you think you need to do this when you've learned everything and you understand it completely, you're going to be frozen. So you just got to jump in there and make mistakes. You know, I mean, as soon as I was in the car, I was in the car with Ashley. I got an Uber back with her, and I don't know, the Uber driver was asked what we were doing. I said, we go into a convention. And he goes, what one? We said Beachbody or whatever. And next thing I know, I redirected the thing, and he said, wow, I love those workouts. And I redirected to the back seat to Ashley, and Ashley got the information of this person. I said, well, you should connect with her. She's knows all about these workouts and everything. So next thing you know, the guy's getting all her information. She's got tech, you know. And then I did the same thing with somebody at a party. Somebody started talking. Some guy's a trainer, and he wants to complement his business and supplement it with Beachbody. And I was with Mary Beth. It was kind of late at night, but she got his information, and you never know. It might turn into nothing. It might turn into something, but you're never going to know until you at least you try.
Yeah.
Everybody is a potential customer or coach.
Well, I think it goes back to what you guys were saying before about like having a servant heart. Like the first thing is, if you're nervous to talk to people, you're thinking about yourself and change it around and focus on them. If you're nervous to talk to people, like if you start asking them questions about themselves, all of a sudden your nervousness goes away because the attention's off you, it's on them. And people love people that are interested in them. They do. And that's what the beauty of having a servant heart is. If you're interested in other people, they're gonna be interested in you. And then you get to figure out, how can you be a servant? What needs does this person have that you can meet? Do they have a need to get healthier? Do they have a need to surround themselves with more like-minded people? Do they have a financial need? Do they have all three? But you're never going to figure out what their needs are and figure out how you can serve them if you don't ask them questions about themselves.
All right, so can I just say this? I got this from my coach, who's been a coach for a long time, and she came to our very first summit, Candace, and she's a trainer, and she texted me right after she left. She said, it was really nice meeting you, despite all she had some tragic events with her daughter and cousin. She says, I'm so glad I came to Summit. It was an eye-opening and made me ask myself, what have you been doing all this time as a Beachbody coach? She says, I had a blast, and I met all these people, and the speakers shook me up, and you telling me to just go for it made me think about it, and I connected with 2 Uber drivers, So, I mean, just going there, she just, she changed her whole mindset. All right, I've talked enough. Somebody else can talk.
All right. We can sneak a few more in here. Who else wants to go?
I'll go back.
Yeah, Ray, go for it.
All right. So for me, this is now my second summit. I actually watched the 2015 summit online, and then the 2016 one I went to in Nashville. For this summit, for me, it was just a massive gut check, just 100% gut check. What you just said, Pat, about showing up in 1 year and then afraid of coming back the next year, that happened to me this year. And then when I sat there and I listened to, I believe it was Ruth on the third general session, and she remarked about, if this was a job and they had to do a review on you, would you keep yourself? Would you fire yourself or what? And I just sat there and I was like, I would have fired myself a long time ago. And, you know, I had things that happened in my life, and, you know, I let it sway me when I shouldn't have, but it's what's done is done. It's done is in the past. Then Darren hit me with, you know, this whole thing is about the choices that you make, as small and as seemingly insignificant as they may be. It's all about the choices, and those little choices, they veer you way off track, no matter how little and small they may seem. That was huge. There was one major night where I was just out and about, just wandering around on Bourbon Street, and I just happened to run into Tommy Migrant, who, you know, I kind of idolized in this business. And I just saw him, and I was just like, yo, hey, Tommy, like, hey, how you doing? Like, just randomly. And like, he was so, like, quick to just be like, hey, how you doing? And just wanted to talk. So we're sitting there, we're talking, and as I'm talking to him, I'm like, I've already made the decision that I am a lifer in this business. And he said, okay, so what have you done over the last year? If you're already a lifer, why aren't you doing anything? Why are you holding back? And why are you not pushing that enthusiasm to the people that you're talking to? Why aren't you doing more? And then to hear that from him, it was just like, you're right. Why am I not doing more? It's just, you know, I'm holding myself back for no reason. For someone like him to still have belief and tell me, he's like, look, dude, I've gone through the same struggles. I'm struggling this year, just like everybody else. I've had my little things that I'm going through, but I'm still going to push. I'm still going to be here, and I'm still going to be, you know, doing what I have to do. And I just realized that, like, there's nothing holding me back besides me. It was just, and I will not show up next year at the same rank, same level, doing the same thing all over again. Just will not let it happen.
Love that, man. I love it. You don't want to fire yourself next year again. That little slight edge thing was like the game changer for me. After not doing anything with this business or showing up here and there, that slight edge philosophy, or that compound effect philosophy, and just like writing that on the wall somewhere and saying, like, how is this slight edge working for me or against me today? Not like looking big picture, but just today. And making sure that slight edge is working for you every day. That consistency, man, like, it's just, I know I'm consistent about saying be consistent, but it's just, that's the key right there. That little slight edge. I would read that book if you've read that before, or if you want to read that for the first time. That might be like the perfect time to read The Slight Edge or The Compound Effect. Love that, man. All right, got time for a couple more here. Going a little over. Anyone else want to hop on here?
I'll go.
Nicole, yeah, go for it.
All right. This was my second summit. And prior to my first summit, my coach kept saying, during summit, you're going to have this aha moment. So in Nashville, I was just waiting for this aha moment. And it kind of never came. I loved it. I learned a lot. I loved everything about it. But that aha moment never came. And so I was waiting for it to come to me, for someone to essentially give me that aha moment. And then I had two aha moments semi-recently. One was thanks to Josh Coates, but then more recently, I had to give myself that aha moment. Long story short, but there's some drama going on at work. I was already unhappy at work, but I was comfortable, which is like a 4-letter word. But I was comfortable at work, but crap is happening. And that is my aha moment. That had to come to me, and I had to like essentially give it to myself versus waiting for it to be given to me. So I did not want to go into this summit and essentially not do anything like I did last summit. I didn't want to sit on all this information. I knew last summit I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do with the information. So I went into this summit knowing that I wasn't going to sit on the information that I came home with. So
with that, obviously, if we want to go far in this business, we need to connect with and invite people. And inviting terrifies me. And I feel that it terrifies a lot of people, especially if you're getting the ball rolling on invites. So what I learned in one of the sessions was to impact 30 people a day. And like, how do you impact 30 people a day? Well, you do, you contact 5 people for gratitude. You thank them for liking your post or reaching out. You make 5 new friends. You contact 5 challengers, 5 coaches, 5 invites, 5 follow-ups. And I don't know about you guys, but when I start doing something, I'm going to keep doing it. Even though I aim for 5 invites, I'm going to end up doing more. But if I just sit down and tell myself 5 invites, then I know it'll snowball and go further. So that's how, I hope this helps other people, but that's how I'm going to make sure I don't sit on my ass after this summit like I did last summit.
I love that your aha moment was that you can give yourself an aha moment.
Yeah, big time.
That's great. Cool. I love that 30 idea. And then that's going to be, again, like the slight edge. Like, if you keep consistent with that, it's going to keep going. Yeah. And like you said, like Carl Deichler talked about it, putting the donut on the bat. Like before you go up to bat, taking a couple practice swings with the donut, the weighted bat. That's what he tries to get coaches to do is the first thing when they wake up in the morning, invite 5 people. Just like throw out 5 invites randomly to 5 random people. First thing when you wake up, just to kind of get warmed up. He's all about that stuff. Cool. Who else? We'll got time for like 2 more here.
Can I share?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so last year I went to Summit in Nashville, and I went as an Emerald coach, and all I had was my parents signed up. So I didn't actually have any coaches, and I went home from that summit and was super overwhelmed. Like, I absolutely had an amazing time, but it was just so much information, didn't really know how to apply it. The year went on, like, I'm going to school full time. I was writing my thesis, all these excuses. So I didn't really, do what I wanted to do with the business. And so I went to this summit. I was a Ruby coach, and I got home and I said to Zach, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I was self-doubting, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually making an impact. But I showed up at Summit this year with 5 coaches, and he told me, he's like, you already have made an impact. So I think that just realizing, like, the whole time this past year, it's been quite the roller coaster of going through a lot of everything, but I didn't stop sharing my journey, and I didn't stop, like, putting my passion out there, and I think it shows. And so even when, I was inconsistent as far as, like, inviting and stuff, I still made sure that, I shared my journey and I shared those struggles, and people connect with that. So I think coming out of this summit, I was like, if anybody up there on stage can do it, there's no reason I can't. And just continuing that and being consistent and setting those big goals and realizing that it is just that slight edge every single day, just deciding it daily. So I think if you're on the struggle bus and you don't think you're making a difference, you absolutely are. So
100%. Well said.
Yeah. I'll go real quick too, since we're already here. So this is my first summit, and I think what a lot of people forget, kind of going off of what she says, that this is a very real thing. No matter what you do, no matter how little you talk to people, you're making a difference in people's lives. Like, people forget how little just saying, hey, how are you, to someone makes a huge difference. I don't remember the story, but there's a story out there about someone going up to a kid one day, and just he was struggling in school, struggling with depression, and one day one dude just like walked up to him and said, hey, how are you doing? And he's like, good, how are you? And then they walked home from school together, and then years later, I think it was during like one of their weddings or something, the one guy turns to him and says, that day that you asked me how I'm doing, you saved my life that day. Oh, was that Keith? Yeah.
Keith, I remember that story.
Yeah, so just
the kid was about to go home and like commit suicide. Someone like a kid had knocked like the books out of his hands, and then the other kid like walked by him and just helped him pick his books up and asked him how he was doing, and it's amazing. I just got chills. Wow, that was cool. Well said, man.
Thanks.
Anyone else? We got time. Keep this train rolling. Anyone else that hasn't had a chance to share yet?
So I will go, Pat, this time.
Paola.
So for me, Summit was really challenging, out of my comfort zone event to go for a lot of reasons. Before I went, I found myself wandering around lonely all the time since I was going by myself for the first time. And then I decided to go knowing that I was going to sacrifice my son's Joey very first football game, which still to this day is hard. But again, I put myself on the priorities like, if I go now and if I grow from this, what else am I going to be able to give to my kids later? Like, I'm sacrificing time now to be able to have more time later. So I made my decisions and I still went. And for me, I can say it was a life-changing experience. Like, the only word I can put myself on how I felt is limitless, not only for coaching, but for life. Like, I realized how my fears and myself have been stopping me to reach my greatest potential and just go for it. Like, and a lot of times those fears, like, at least on myself, I realized they have names and they have faces of what people will think about you. And then I put myself like, am I going to worry about what those haters or those 50 to 100 people are going to think about me? Am I going to worry about how much I have to give to the thousands of people I want to reach? Because obesity and self-esteem, and I think we all were able to see it on this event, obesity and self-esteem are real struggles in life. Like, people feeling lonely, people feeling that they don't care for you. There was a coach that I was able to hear on the Latina Cumbre, which her name is Ivy Morales, which is that she said, just by saying someone like, I'm thinking of you, I thought about you and I wanted to invite you, it just makes a game changer. Like, people actually feel like, oh, wow, somebody actually thinks about me. And even Elle commented out, she sent an invite, and her challenger now asked like, well, I was wondering when were you going to invite me? I thought you didn't want me as part of your group. So it's just so crazy how sometimes ourselves are holding back and not do what we need to do. And what is crazy is I think we all know what's the thing we need to do, but we are holding ourselves. We all know what's the right thing. It's just go and do it. Do what your gut tells you. And it kind of made me go back to one of the greatest books I've read, which is Who Moved My Cheese, which is, what would you do if you were not scared? Even talking to the team call right now, I feel anxiety and my heart is going, but it's part of sharing how we feel. We all feel the same, and we all have these struggles. And if my chains were unlocked, like, I feel free. I'm like, if I don't move from here and I'm not successful, how I visualize myself from here, not only coaching but in life, is because of myself. So from here, I'm just not stopping. I'm unstoppable. I go and crash. I need to find those walls. I will go and feel hard, and my fears have to be less than my not willpower, but my why power.
Boom. Limitless. Love that.
Yeah.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Who would you reach out to if you knew you couldn't fail? Love that.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy for us to look at people out there. They see people that are hating or doubting on them, and it's so easy to think that they're the majority. And people need to know that those haters, those doubters, they're not the majority. They're the minority. There's only 5 or 10 people like that in your life. Thousands of other people that got your back, but people don't know that because we're not as loud as those haters. We got to be louder. We got to let people know we're here from. And that's true. The lady that was waiting for someone to invite her, there's so many people that are just dying to be invited to be a part of a community like this. No one's asked them yet. Cool. Has anyone else not had a chance to share? No. All right. I'm going to just do a quick announcements here. So tonight, 8 p.m. is the live surge. So you got Carl Deichler on I think it's the Team Beachbody, or I think it's called the TBB 411 page, or Team Beachbody 411 Facebook page. He's going to go live on that Facebook page at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. He's going to talk about recap the summit. He's going to have some really successful coaches get on there and share. And also Chris Downing, the trainer from Shift Shop, is going to hop on there as well. So that's tonight, 8 p.m. Also, summit tickets for 2018, they're $145 right now. They're going to go up $150. They go up to $295. I'm not exactly sure what day they go up. I think it's the end of this week.
I heard the 24th.
Or 24th. So
I don't know what they're going up to, but I heard up to the 24th was the last time.
Yeah, the 145 deal is good through the 23rd. So you're right, Pete. They go up on the 24th.
All right. So hop on those at coachsummit.com. Shift Shop Challenge groups. A lot of you guys are kicking yours off on the 24th, which is this Monday coming up. So Chris is going to talk about that. What else we got? So in August coming up, we got the Team Cup. So you get on a team of 5 people. It's a great way to pull some people that you really want to work with, or reach out to some coaches you want to work with, and get in a small team of 5. And based on how you guys do with Success Club points during that month of August, Beachbody is going to give you prizes. There's different tiers of prizes. It's not like you have to do anything different than what you're already doing. It's just a cool way to connect with coaches and get in a little text group with 5 people. If you guys have teams, or that you're running teams, make sure that your coaches are hopping on a Team Cup team and registering for that. And then as far as like the team within Team Boom that has the most Team Cup points, I'm going to do something special. I'll send them something special as well. So Team Cup is in August. Get on a group of 5. Get a group of 5 coaches together, and you can win some prizes by pushing each other to get some more Success Club points during the month of August. And then, so that's August. And then September, Clean Week launches. So that's Megan Davies. She's the newest Beachbody trainer. So I've got to spend a lot of time with Megan and her dad, George, and they're like the most down-to-earth, coolest people, really care about people. So I'm super excited about this program. I think it's going to really fill a void for what coaches have been looking for, because we have challenge groups that are amazing, but sometimes people need something first to kind of have like a sneak peek into what a challenge group atmosphere is like and what Beachbody workouts look like. And a lot of coaches spend a lot of time creating these 5-day clean eating challenges and these 5-day plank challenges and all these like free groups. This is going to be a way that Beachbody's creating something with Megan that's already built for us. That's like top of the line, a 7-day jump start. And like Megan says in her promo video, that's the hardest thing for her clients is that first 7 days. So what I'm planning on doing, and I know a lot of you guys are going to do it too, is each month run a Clean Week free challenge group where they can hop in a group for 7 days. And if they just sign up for that Beachbody On Demand during that 14-day free trial, they can do the Clean Week for free. If they want to upgrade and pay a little more, then they, along with the Clean Week workouts, they get the meal plan and the 7 days of the Shakeology samples as well. So that comes out in September. And then got the UK launch on October 21st. So start building your list of people from the UK that you think would be interested in either as a customer or as a coach as well. But again, like the main thing, look, you guys will hear all this again tonight at 8 o'clock. I would definitely make sure that you notify all your coaches and get on there yourself, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Team Beachbody 411 page for the live surge. And Carl's going to go over all this stuff. That's the number one priority right now, is getting on that at 8. Cool.
Hey, Pat, can I just jump in? You mentioned about the UK thing. I've been talking to people already. Is there any way, or maybe some other people want to do this in a smaller group, but if we all have contacts in the UK that want interest, maybe we could choose a night like at the end of August, mid-August or something, and get them all in a Zoom call, and we can do kind of like a sneak peek like that together, you know?
Actually, I introduced myself to Carlos. Carlos is Beachbody Corporate. He runs the UK Beachbody Facebook group. and he's gonna get on a team call sometime. I messaged you, Pat.
Okay, cool. I think, Joe, maybe you could create a Facebook group for like UK prospects, Team Boom UK prospects, just to like get them all in one group and kind of get some buzz going.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe share the link to the group in the Boom Fam or something.
Yeah, okay. I've got an international group with that. I've been
let's just do a UK, like Team Boom UK.
Right. That's good.
Okay, was there like an email thing that connected us to people that they had to sign up for, so they were associated with you?
I don't think
about that? There wasn't like a notification or something that came back to you?
Nah, there's nothing yet that ties you to anybody in the UK. There's that Facebook group. I'm not that's going to tie you personally to that specific person in the UK.
Okay.
But they do have a Facebook group that they're talking about stuff in. But it'd be like, Pat, that's a great idea. Just have our own Facebook group.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, I'll work on that.
Hey, George, did you want to share your top takeaway or anything about Megan's program? This is Megan Davies' dad. Megan Davies, the trainer for Blue Week.
Well, my top takeaway was Beachbody is an incredible company. They treated us, it was amazing. And to be, behind the scenes and to see what went on behind the scenes at that program was incredible. But, her program, I think that it's like they said, it's going to be a great kickoff because, we have the gym and it is one of the things that we see. It's the toughest thing when you get somebody in the gym that first week, what they go through, the doubts they have about themselves and things like that, and trying to get them just past that first week to say, hey, you know what, this is something I can do and to move forward. If I had to say my top takeaway, because with our schedule, I didn't get to go to any of the meetings. I didn't get to really hear any of the speakers because they were pretty much running us around on Megan's schedule at the different picture events and other things that were going on behind the scenes. But I'm kind of a numbers guy because I've been in the financial business for so long. I'm always looking at numbers and I'm always looking at trends. And when I looked at this whole opportunity, as I sat there and I watched the people walk across the stage and, they threw out a couple of numbers and I just sat there and I thought to myself, what an opportunity this is, because they talked about the fact that there's roughly about 400,000, I think, coaches now. And I think they just hit last month, wasn't it, 1 million customers, right?
Yeah.
So 1 million customers represents 0.3% in this whole country that are actually Beachbody customers. 0.3%. And of all the people that were there at this event, if let's say there was 20,000 people, that comes out to like I don't know, like 100%. Now you're much better at math than I am. You're a CPA, so
it's funny you're saying this. I had this conversation yesterday, George. Like someone was saying like somebody was interested in doing the business, and they were like, Beachbody's been around. Like, what do you think about like market saturation? I was like, there's 400 million people in the U.S. and Canada. There's 400,000 coaches. That's 0.1%. That leaves 99.9% of people that aren't coaches yet. And then, yeah, like the customers too, like you said, it's 0.03%. That leaves 99.7% of people that aren't customers yet. And not only that, but we're opening up in the UK. And then, like they said, eventually we're going to show up at Summit and there's going to be like a South America section, an Asia section, a Europe section. It's just like, it's like ground floor right now.
I need Mexico.
Yeah, when I look at this, again, you're looking at like a bell curve. We're at the bottom of the bell curve. This has nothing but opportunity to go on the upside. So I'm super excited to be part of Beachbody. And of course, I'm, more than excited that, my daughter's dream has come true, that now, she can touch base with literally hundreds of thousands, millions of people and touch their lives in such a positive way.
It's going to be huge. And this is the trend it's going in. The 90-day workout programs were amazing. Then we went to 60 and more people got on board. Then we went to 21 and it just exploded. Now we're going to introduce the 7-day clean week. And I think it's going to bring in even more people that are going to catch the bug and then make this a lifestyle. So I think it's such a missing thing that's going to fill the gap. Cool.
Don't forget about Tony's workout coming up.
Yeah. You know what? With Tony's workout, I have to say I was extremely excited. I was talking to somebody who actually expressed disappointment because they were expecting like P90X4 or something like that. And, and I have to admit too, when it was first announced, it took me like about 5 or 10 seconds to like get over that as well, because that's what I was expecting too. But then I realized that the way Beachbody is going, George, this is totally what you're saying right now. And it totally reminded the way that I felt walking out of the opening ceremony. In fact, I went live on my page about it because I was so excited, is that the way Beachbody is attacking obesity right now is to get it before it starts. And with Tony's workout, getting your kids involved, I mean, part of it is to, make sure that is to get people away from their devices and communicating with the families, but it's also getting these kids involved with activity between double time. And then also, like, I brought home a bunch of samples of Daily Sunshine, and all 3 of my kids freaking love it. And they have been like on my ass for the longest time wanting to drink their own Shakeology. And now they've got their own thing. And this is like just introducing good health concepts to your kids when they're very young. And I couldn't be more excited because, I mean, that's a topic near and dear to my heart. So, and if anyone is like expressing disappointment in not having a P90X4, I think Carl said it best. When he was talking about one of the programs, he's like, he's talking about this is, they can do 21-day fix extreme, or they can do something else. We have everything covered, but we didn't have this part covered. And this is just filling it in for families with double time and Daily Sunshine, and also Megan's program to introduce health over 7 days. All 3 of these programs, 2 programs and the new Daily Sunshine.
Hey, Pat, I'm kind of bummed here. We couldn't figure out how to record this.
Oh, I got it recorded.
Oh, good. Thank God. One other thing about the rooms, tomorrow at noon, it'd be 9 a.m. Pacific time. For most people, unless you're a lead or Success Club people, Premier, you got to get your rooms you want to like book the rooms, and they're going to make you pay one night, and it's all refundable up to 72 hours prior. So, a lot of people are in the Omni, but there's a lot, it's way different than any other. Everything is so close. So I'll make sure everybody knows that, because you got the Omni, you got the Hampton, you got the Crown Plaza. They're all like 0.1 to 0.2 miles away. And they're all like 0.3 miles to the stadium. They're 0.3 miles to the convention center. So everything's going to be a lot closer. Everything's tighter. So try to get your room. The worst case scenario, if you can't make it, you lose $25. That's it.
Yeah.
So I would try to tell everybody to book rooms. And, if something comes up with a family, they have to cancel, they have until 72 hours prior to, getting there.
Yeah. And it's only $25 if you cancel up to 72 hours. So you got a year to make up your mind. So
right.
You might as well book it now. Yeah. And so the ticket for Summit and the hotels are on the same website. It's just coachsummit.com. So, all right, let's get a boom on 3 and get back to work here. I'll unmute you guys. All right, guys, great call. Boom on 3, and then we're going to hit it.
They are
the live surge on the TVB 411 page on Facebook. All right, boom on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh! Good to see everybody. Be safe. Work hard.